The Creeping Shadow. When I was 13, I remember waking up having sleep paralysis and this thing, later knowing it was the Hat Man, just staring at me. I didn't know what to do or say. It was like the air in my room felt heavy, not with dust or warmth, but with an unseen weight. It had been this way since I was a child, a subtle shift in the atmosphere when the sun dipped below the horizon and the world outside transformed into a canvas of bruised purples and inky blues. I was 13 now, old enough to know monsters weren't real, but not old enough to shake the primal chill that snaked up her spine each night. It started innocently, as most terrors do. A flick of movement in her peripheral vision, a trick of the fading light playing across the wall. I blinked, and it would be gone. Then I rationalize it as tiredness, an overactive imagination fueled by late-night scrolling and half-remembered urban legends whispered in the schoolyard. Then came the eyes. Not a reflection, not a stray LED from a charging device, but two pinpricks of crimson, burning like embers in the deepest corner of my bedroom. He was there, just beyond the reach of my bedside lamp. Perfectly still, perfectly silent. I wanted to squeeze my eyes shut, count to 10, and when I dared to peek again, he would have vanished. But the memory, sharp and cold, would linger, making my heart hammer against my ribs. I tried telling my parents, "There's something in my room at night." I mumbled at breakfast, pushing soggy cereal around my bowl, but my mom, preoccupied with her phone, offered a distracted smile. "Just shadows, honey. Get some more sleep." And my dad, buried behind a newspaper, grunted, "Stop watching those creepy videos before bed, Stacy." They didn't see the terror. They didn't feel the skin crawl, the breath catch in my throat. They didn't know about the eyes. One night, the eyes didn't disappear. I laid rigid in my bed, the blankets pulled up to my chin, my gaze locked on the corner. The red points of light pulsed, a slow, deliberate rhythm that seemed to mock my frantic heartbeat. I wanted to scream, but my throat was constricted, a tight knot of fear. I wanted to run, but my limbs felt heavy, anchored to the mattress. And then it moved. Not with a creak or a rustle, but a silent fluid unfolding from the shadows themselves. A shape, impossibly tall, began to coalesce. It was dark, darker than the deepest night, a void that absorbed what little light the moon offered through her curtain. It wore a hat, wide-brimmed and low, obscuring what little face might have been there, leaving only the infernal red eyes to pierce the gloom. A long, tattered coat seemed to ripple and sway, though there was no breeze in the room. The Hat Man. The name popped into my head unbidden, a whisper from some forgotten ancient fear. It wasn't just a shadow, it was a presence, a heavy, suffocating weight that pressed down on me, stealing the air from my lungs. It stood silent and immense in the corner, its crimson gaze fixed on me. I could feel it, an icy tendril of dread reaching out and coiling around my mind. I wasn't imagining this. This was real. This was the reason the room always felt heavy. I finally found my voice, a raw, terrified croak. Who are you?" The Hat Man didn't speak. It simply tilted its head, a gesture that sent a fresh wave of ice through me, and it rose up his arm, and his started to point toward me, as if he wanted me to follow him. And as it did, the red eyes seemed to glow brighter, two malevolent suns in a sea of darkness. Then, before I know it, with a snap of a finger, it was morning, and I knew, with a certainty that chilled me to the bone, that I was no longer safe. My bedroom, once a sanctuary, was now a cage, and I was not alone.